Hey, what's up YouTube? Having some starter problems here with my car. I've checked out a few other things, and apparently last on the list is the starter. And what I'm doing here is I'm trying to bypass the wiring system and just test the starter directly. So what I did is I hooked the positive up to this bolt right here. That's where the battery usually connects to. And then I hooked another wire up to here. This is where the key connects to. And then all you do is just touch this. Oops. Just touch this with the this jumper wire. But you got to have this connected. And then you have to have this connected to a battery. So I already did that, and it didn't work. Nothing happened. Actually, what did happen is this thing popped out, came out, but it didn't spin. Then I waited a bit and I tried it again, and nothing happened. So I'm gonna go to my parts shop here. Unfortunately, my Volkswagen supplier is closed today, so I gotta go to AutoZone. Alright, I'm back, YouTube. So I made a mistake, and I got a 12 volt I got a 6 volt battery, or a 6 volt starter, and even though this is a 1965 bug, it's been converted to 12 volt. So when I try to put the 6 volt starter on there, which is what this car came with, it didn't want to fit because this thing is bigger and this is bigger on the 6 volt flywheel and transmission. The only thing that sucks is this is made in China. It says remanufactured in China. So we'll see. It doesn't have any Bosch or German markings on it. I think maybe they put a new case on this or something, but it fits, hopefully. So that's what I need, and I need a starter that works. So this is what's going to go in my car. Alright, so this is the spot where it goes. That bolt is, that screw is stuck in the case. That's the way it's supposed to be. The other one is removable. It goes on top. Alright, got the new starter in. You see I got that bolt finger tight. It's just on there. And now I gotta put the other bolt. You can't see it though because it's on top. And it's really hard to get to. I have dual carburetors, so it makes it even harder. There's not much space, but you won't be able to see this, but there's a bolt back there sticking out. You guys, I guess you can see it right there a little bit. So I got to try to get this bolt on there. That's a screw. I got to get the bolt on. Right. So what ended up happening is that since this is a different starter and it's smaller, the bolt that holds the starter on up on top is slotted. It has like a half moon shape to it, which locks it into the starter, so you can turn the bolt that's right there, and the other side won't turn, but it doesn't lock up because it's not the same size starter. So I just got some vice grips and held it with the vice grip so it wouldn't turn, and tightened it up. I mean, ideally I should get the right bolt that's for this starter, but kind of in a hurry right now. I want to get going somewhere. Trying to get over to the Southern California all Euro show. So I just want to get this starter on and get this thing started and head out of here. So I guess I should show you how the wiring goes. There's basically 3 wires that go to the starter. This big red one is coming from the battery. Goes there. You can see the hole going into the where the battery's at. Then there's one here that goes to the alternator, and then the other one, I think it goes to the I don't know where this other one goes to actually. One has to go to the alternator. This fat one goes to the battery, and this other one, I think it goes to the coil. So this is a relay, or this is going to the starter, in other words. I'm sorry, to the ignition. So this one here, this one goes to the ignition. This one goes to the starter. Or I'm sorry, to the alternator. So this charges up this thing, keeps the battery charged up. This goes to the alternator, and technically you can run this directly to this, but that's not how it's connected. And then again, this one goes to the starter. I mean, sorry, to the key, to the ignition key. Alright, and there's two prongs. There's this one here, and then there's another one. One's a relay, and the other one is for the starter. For the key, I'm sorry, for the key. I keep saying starter. This is the starter. This is the solenoid. The key is in front, the ignition, and this black wire, red wire with a black stripe on it goes up into the engine bay, and then it runs back up to the key. Now that I got my new starter hooked up, this is the wire I was telling you about that goes back to the starter, connects here to the battery. And you want to make sure your battery posts are clean. You can use sandpaper to just sand it down, and you want to make sure your battery cables are tight. I'm just testing to see if it's going to start. I'll tighten it up after that. I have a Motorola alternator, and it has this Motorola, I don't know what this thing is. I want to say it's like a, I can't remember what it's called. Voltage regulator, kind of drops down the voltage, and all these wires. This one runs up to the front, to the generator light, battery light. These other three run to the alternator, the Motorola alternator. So let's see if my car starts. I got the new German ignition with the Chinese starter. Make sure it's in neutral. The light comes on. Not good. Alright, YouTube, I'm back. I had to go to the AutoZone and get a new starter because my old starter was not any good apparently. This is from AutoZone, like I said, and it looks to be a rebuilt German one, so that's kind of cool because I didn't want to get a Chinese one. So I'm happy about that. So I had to give him my old Volkswagen starter, and this is a Bosch German one. It's been rebuilt, so it looks pretty good. So I'm about to install it and see what happens. Where's your final destination?
Hey Volkswagen fans, this is my husband Abel, and I'm filming this because this is his third attempt in trying to figure out why his bug doesn't start. His first theory was regarding the ignition, and he went and bought a new ignition, and obviously that wasn't the problem. So then he said it was, what was the second theory?
The battery.
The battery. So he went this morning to AutoZone, took the battery, and I guess to his surprise, the battery was perfectly fine. So then here comes attempt number 3. He actually went to the warehouse in Chula Vista, bought a new starter for a 1965 Bug, and then that didn't work. Can y'all guess why it didn't work? Abel, do you want to tell your fans why it didn't work?
Because the guy who owned this car before me converted the car to 12 volts.
Okay.
And the starter that was on there was a 12 volt starter.
Okay.
And that's why the 6 volt starter that's supposed to go on this car didn't fit. So when I went to the AutoZone to tell them, hey, I need a starter for a 1965 Bug, they gave me a starter for a 65 Bug. But it didn't fit because even though this is a 65, the flywheel and the transmission, or the flywheel and the shaft, the bushing is for for 12. So it should fit now. So I'm good to go.
Okay. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We'll find out if it fit or not.
Well, it fit. Now I just gotta see if it works.
Okay.
What's going on? Just trying to finish up this video of starting problems with my VW Bug. This is my 65 convertible Beetle, and having some problems lately with it not wanting to start. So I went through everything, changed it, put a new ignition in, or new old stock ignition, German. Then I replaced the starter with the Chinese one from AutoZone, and it still wouldn't start. So check the wiring and mess with the wires a little bit, and still nothing really too good. And mess with the wiring where it goes through the light switch right here, and so that was helped a little bit, but what the problem ended up being was something actually else. So let me show you what that is. So what was going on actually was, you can see here, this is an alternator. This is not the original engine for this car. There's the engine block number. I don't know if you could see that. It says AD025202X, I believe. This is a dual port 1600, and this is a alternator. This is a Volkswagen alternator made by Motorola. I got this off of like a 74 Beetle in the junkyard about 20 years ago, and it's been lasting ever since. It's actually made in the USA. But the wiring is a problem. So I don't know if you guys can see that connection I have right there. So I got 2 wires going into one. The alternator, I guess it's the charging wire, the thick red one here, goes to the starter, but it doesn't go directly to the starter. It's tied into the key. So the key doesn't go directly to the starter. It links up here at this connector. And that's been on there probably for about 20 years when I converted this, and I need to switch it. I need to put a proper wiring connection, and you probably can't see it, but there's some wiring back there that was loose. There's a junction there, and that one was loose and it wasn't working too well, so I messed with that a little bit, just jiggled it around a little bit, and it's been starting ever since. So I need to go in there and check that connection better, and fix that. I also need to get the correct axle nut for my car. This is the axle nut that's on there. I think think this is from a 67 and up axle nut. The correct one doesn't have this like washer type thing at the end. It's just one solid straight piece all the way in, and it sucks because I can't get my cap on there either. So I'm gonna have to get the right one for that. Just wanted to show people I painted my fender with some spray paint and some clear coat, because the rest of my car is this tan color, and so I want to eventually paint the whole thing that color, but you can see I need some serious body work right here. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take off the starter, or the light switch, and I'm going to clean it up really good. Take all the wires off of it. I don't know if you can see it in there. Oh, it's way up there. I'm going to take that off and clean up all the connections with the wire brush and maybe some chemicals, maybe WD-40 or something like that. So I got to unscrew this, and this is kind of tricky to get off. So I'm trying these needle nose pliers and just twisting it, getting it in that little notch. There's two little notches in there, and just turning it. So once I turn that, I'll be able to take the light switch off and clean it up. So I've taken off my light switch off my bug, and made a little diagram here of what the connectors are, what wire they go to, before I took off the wires. And I started actually sanding the box. It's aluminum, it looks like, and this is what it looked like before I started sanding it. And this is just some of the buildup I've started to take off. I'm not sure if this needs to be cleaned off. I think this is a connector too. But what my main concern is cleaning these up. This is a VW part made in Germany. Whoops. And I don't know if this is the original light switch that goes with this car, but it's the one that I've had on there since I've got the car. It looks like the part number is 8461. But it could be wrong. So that's the number that I see on there. Yeah, it's the only number I see on here. So anyways, so I'm gonna start cleaning these connectors off with the wire brush, and then spray this maybe with a little WD-40 before I put it back on.